Welcome to the Mentor Network. You can see today I'm very excited because I have a guest, and this guest is one of the most successful people here in diaspora. And I want you to meet him. He's one of the people I actually met when I first came to the US. He has done IT, he has done tracking. He's very knowledgeable in so many areas that most of us in the diaspora are involved in. So he has a wealth of information. Today we want to hear more about his journey, what it has taken for him to get to where he is, and he will tell us where he is, and maybe what challenges he may have faced, and maybe also how he can help us. So without wasting too much time, hi Eddie. How are you?
Hey, I am well, thank you.
Oh, welcome to Mentor Network.
Came in 1988, went back home, came back in 92, went home and then came back again. Actually, so this was the third time in 94.
Okay.
Yeah, it's quite a story. But
yeah,
I started going
with
to school.
that story. Yeah, we really want to hear that. How did you first get here? How did you come here the first time?
Actually, I came on a student visa. So got an I-20 to go to college, and back then it wasn't so enforced, and I didn't have enough money to go to school full time. So I think I only took one semester and dropped out because I did not have enough money to pay for the next semester. So like, everybody else, you go, you find 2 jobs or 3 jobs. I worked factory jobs. My very first job was actually in a car wash in Los Angeles. That is where I started, doing actual work. Funny story from that is, first week I was washing cars and somebody gave me $5 as a tip.
Wow.
And I was very surprised because I did not know anything about tipping. So I thought he's setting me up, they're trying to set me up. And told no, you have to go over to the cashier and that's where you pay the money. In any case, a car wash is $3. I don't know why you're giving me $5. But I must have done such a good job because he gave me $5 and we went back and forth. I was trying to justify he really shouldn't give me the money. And that's when I discovered that when you do a good job, you get a tip. That's a concept that wasn't so common. Obviously in Kenya we don't. I think they don't tip too much, but maybe these days they do. So that was awesome, and I discovered you do a good job, you get paid. It gave me an insight that if you just put a bit more effort, you can go far. But that was just one. That was just one thing. Everything that I have done, just because of my background, I have had to kind of work extra hard just to move one step, be one step ahead. So I did 2 jobs for sure, paying through community college, and then later on I went to UMSO, which is University of Missouri St. Louis.
Yes.
And back then it wasn't called computer science, it was called management information systems. So that was my degree.
Exactly. Eddie, do you remember me and you taking a class at Forest Park with with Brenda? It was...
I do, yeah.
Yes.
Oh man, yeah. Those were the days, the good old days, and we couldn't see so far. Everything seemed so distant. You just sit in a corner and you wonder, will this ever be okay? But things turned out fine. So that was the initial introduction, I think, to my USA. That introduction was a very long one. I think it took me 10 years just to get into the system, back and forth, getting the right papers.
I'm glad you mentioned your challenge with paying your school fees as an F1 student, because that happens a lot. That's something people don't know. Actually, getting admitted to school is easy, but now getting through the school fees, Eddie, I can see the delay. Yeah,
there's a big delay, but I'm just ignoring it.
Yes,
so
thank you.
Yeah, the school fees is a big deal, the college fees, because when I arrived in the USA, after changing all the dollars, all the Kenya shillings I had, I believe I had $27 US. That is how much I had. And back then, the US dollar was 18 shillings. It had just reached 18 shillings
Wow.
in
18.
18 shillings, and that was a big, 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 big deal. We were just crying and saying the world is now coming to an end. Pretty soon it will be 20 shillings. I don't know what's going to happen.
Wow.
Now,
Uh-huh.
now I think the dollar is what, 160, 150, somewhere around there, give or take.
Somewhere, yeah, something like that.
Yeah, but back then when I came in, when we changed it at Central Bank, it was 18 shillings to the dollar, I remember. And you even had to get permission to actually change money. And there was a limit. There was a limit of 10,000 shillings to change. You could not change more than that.
That's changing dollar from dollar to Kenya
Shi
shilling,
buying US dollars
or buying
so that you
US.
can travel,
Yes.
there used to be a restriction of how much you could change. And the maximum that you could change was 10,000 shillings. So I did not even have 10,000 shillings, so that wasn't, a problem.
Yes.
To have 10,000 shillings, you were very, very well off, so to speak. But it used to be enough to maybe go pay college, set you up for a month or two of living expenses. But I did not have that much money.
Okay.
So the only resort was working. You have to work. Now it's even more difficult because you have to have a work permit, and those are some of the challenges that immigrants have. Previously, as a student, you could come in and work on college, no special
Yes.
permits required. You could get a job at the library. I think you remember, Josie, in one of my classes, JavaScript, I was also a TA. I wasn't paid, but at least I felt as though there was a pathway there that
Yes.
if I wanted to ask for a stipend, then they might give me. But it never got to that. But that
Wow.
was one of the ways that as a student you could do. You could help the professor. You could work in the library, work in the computer lab,
I
and
did
get
that.
get
I
your tuition.
did. When I was,
It
I
took
don't know if you knew, I
when
went
people
to
say
Harry
that you're going
Store.
to
When I
just
was
land
at Harry
here
Store, I
and
did work in the computer
hit the
lab,
ground running,
and
that may not
also
happen.
at Flo
It took me a
Valley,
solid five to
I
six years
did
just to get a
peer
footing
tutoring.
and
Yes.
be able to move
Okay.
around,
Okay.
get
Yes.
a
Now,
reliable
Flo
car
Valley, you didn't go to
to
Forest Park, right?
to
I
for
went. I was going
transport.
to all of them,
You went
depending
to
on where I
school,
could find the
just find your
class.
way, find a place to live that is
Got you.
comfortable.
I went to
I
just
remember that
Forest
my
Park. I
first
never did go
apartment
to Flo Valley. So.
Oh wow!
was
I did go to
just one of
Merrimack,
those.
Flo
You just
Valley, and
qualified. I
Forest Park.
barely qualified because
Nice.
over here you have to qualify to
So
get
that
into
was
an
Jenny.
apartment in terms
That
of
was where my
income and
computer
so on and so
science
forth.
actually
Exactly.
started.
So I got
And
interested in it
also,
because of a temporary job that I had in St. Louis, which was a data entry job.
yes,
And that was my introduction to databases, Access, SQL databases. I think it was Transformix or something like that. And it got me interested. So when I went to college, in community college, obviously that was interesting because it helped me
yes,
find a pathway to what I want to do. It was interesting to me, and the people who did something to do with computers seemed to get paid a lot of money.
yes,
Back home we think engineers, doctors, lawyers, and we all want to be that because there's, relative to what everybody is earning, that is where the money was. So for me,
yes.
it appeared that it was an easy path since, it didn't look like I was going to be a doctor or a lawyer. you know,
Okay.
Not that I'm interested in those professions anyway, but computer science just came naturally to me, and I stuck with that ever since.
I know
So
you
in my
also used to do some PHP. It occurs to me, even like the first time I met you, even though you were getting started with IT here, it's almost like you knew something about like creating websites and such. You are already very knowledgeable for some reason.
I was interested in that. That technology was just coming out. If you remember back in '99, when in the dot-com explosion,
Yes.
where everybody was buying a domain name, a www dot something, and I
Mm-hmm.
actually got one. And
Mm-hmm.
in order for it to stay alive, I had to put something on it.
Yes.
So, I did some work, put it on the website. Also,
Mm-hmm.
part of what drove me into that is one day that I got an assignment at work, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember what exactly it was, but it required me to go to Borders, if you remember Borders, the bookstore.
Yes. Yes.
Yep, yeah, on Olive. I remember exactly where it
Mm-hmm.
was. I don't live in Missouri anymore for anybody who's watching, but I do remember some of those places.
Uh-huh.
There was one book over there that I was interested in
Yes.
that helped me do my job. It was a Perl programming book,
Okay.
and I read that thing from almost cover to cover while I was still at the store because I couldn't buy it until
Do you remember
Friday.
the name?
Yes, it was a Perl book,
Okay.
programming in Perl.
Oh, okay, Paul. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, programming in Perl, and
Mm-hmm.
that was it. It had the information that I needed, but I couldn't afford the book until the paycheck Friday. So I used to go to Borders every day for like 3 or 4 days, waiting for the paycheck, and then
Yes.
I could go buy the book. But good thing is here in the US, you can go read a book for free, I guess, at the bookstore.
Yes, you can. Right now, there's so much information. You barely even need a book. YouTube, these learning sites, LinkedIn.
Yeah, back then
Pluralsight. Uh-huh.
that wasn't there. Even Google had not been launched yet. The
Yes.
search engine was Metacrawler, Web Crawler, Ask Jeeves. If you can
Netscape,
remember Netscape.
American
Oh,
Online, AOL.
AOL, yes. The keywords, they almost that was almost the new Google. I mean, the current Google, but it didn't. I guess their marketing didn't work out. But yeah,
Yes.
Google just came in. I think somewhere around 2000, maybe 2000s,
Mm-hmm.
give or take. And there wasn't so much information. So I was not only developing, I was also helping create technical content,
Wow.
and that was my first, I guess, foray into IT. But IT has always been a passion. I've written a lot of programs, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
websites.
Okay.
I have part of my journey also took me into trucking, like you said, as a truck driver.
Yes. Now let's go back. Okay.
Yep.
After community college, you said you
hmm
went to a 4-year college.
hmm
And you graduated with, was it computer science?
MIS, yeah,
Oh, MIS, okay.
yeah.
So now, how did you proceed from, now after your degree? Did you like get hired? Did you get a job or did you just go your way?
Actually, I stayed. I was going to school at the same time that I was working, so I had a full-time job and going to school at the same time. So it
Okay.
was just a continuation. The degree was not a requirement for the job,
Mm-hmm.
which is I don't know whether that is still the case. But, maybe when you're getting your
No,
initial job, you might need to get the degree first, then go look for the job. But back then, uh, you just needed to know a little bit of IT, and you were good. There was
no,
a shortage. There was a
I keep telling people, there are people who are so hang on to getting a degree. What I
Mhm.
can tell you, when we interview people for IT positions, for programming, most of the time we are not looking for a degree. Most of the time when you pass the interview, we ask you technical questions, we look at your resume, and we are really trying to judge if you have the skills, not if you have the degree. Rarely does a degree come up.
I agree 100%. In all the
Yes.
years of my working here in the US, 35 years, nobody has ever asked whether I have a degree.
Mm-hmm.
No, nobody has even wanted to figure out what was my degree because it doesn't even really make sense to. I graduated in 1998. So that is so long ago. Whatever information that I had in that degree does not even part of it does not make sense today.
No,
So
it
a
does.
degree,
Mm-hmm.
I think it just shows that you have the aptitude to
Yes.
learn something, grasp, make some things that take it all the way to finish. But it is not a requirement for the job. So for me, I never even paid a lot of attention, and I never got the interest to even go and do a master's degree or anything like that. So I was comfortable with that. I did get some technical certifications.
Okay.
Those are important. I think they are even more important than degrees because they're very, very job specific.
Exactly.
So a good example is I was a Linux engineer as well, and I got my certification as a Red Hat certified engineer. So
Okay.
that helped me directly in my job as an IT engineer. But a degree probably would not have covered those kind of technical things that were covered in that certification.
Yes.
So yep, I did those, and that was what 25 years give or take in IT before I switched careers.
Now, Eddie, so you are telling us you switched from IT. What did you get into that, and what attracted you to that, and not stay in IT?
I think that's where the story begins.